The price of guns and ammunition taxes purchased in California has just doubled under a new law signed by Governor Gavin Newsom. California is now the first state to charge an excise tax on firearms and ammo. And the new tax, an 11% levy on each sale, will come out on top of federal excise taxes of 10 or 11% for firearms and California's 6% sales tax. This all comes as a result of the California legislature passing AB 28 back on September 7th. And a political action committee group now taking action against the state of California for charging this new 11% excise tax. And for more on this lawsuit, we are joined by Michael Schwartz, political executive director of the San Diego County Gun Owners Political Action Committee. Michael, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So today it is the first day of the 11% tax gone into effect for California. How will this impact both gun owners and those that are interested in firearms?
Sure. Just for clarity, we don't have a lawsuit yet, just to be clear on that. But what the problem is that this is an 11% tax on any firearms purchase, any ammunition purchase throughout the entire state. 11%. This makes it extremely expensive. It's already expensive to own guns, to train with guns. Cost is always a consideration, but now it makes it even more expensive and probably cost prohibitive for, a single mother who needs to protect herself and her kids because she lives in a bad neighborhood because that's all she can afford. Or, a young college student who, works late at night so she can put herself through college. Self-defense should not be cost prohibitive. And when you put an 11% tax on a constitutionally protected right, it really is the equivalent of a poll tax, which was, of course, unconstitutional. But the really offensive thing about this, yes, it makes it more expensive. Yes, it costs people out of their ability to protect themselves. But they take this 11% and they actually give it to organizations that do not have the best interests of gun owners in mind. So they take this 11%, and it's going to be millions of dollars that they're charging gun purchasers. And they're going to use this money to send out a message that is against sane, trained, law-abiding gun owners. When you tax something like gas to pay for roads, that kind of makes sense because the more gas you use, the more you're using a road. Kind of, makes sense. But to tax people who aren't committing crimes because of violent crime and then use that money to give to organizations that have a message that is against those sane, trained, law-abiding gun owners, it's so offensive on so many levels, preventing people from being safe, blaming violent crime on those not committing crime, and then making it harder for people to exercise their constitutionally protected right to self-defense is wrong on so many levels.
And I wanted to ask about all the recent gun control legislation, the going on in Congress, the Surgeon General declaring guns a health crisis, and the ATF overstepping as well. This new tax, this new excise tax, it does seem like another form of gun control.
Without question. This is definitely coming from a legislature and a governor that are not in favor of sane, trained, law-abiding gun owners. They're not in favor of gun ownership. They don't like the idea of people being able to defend themselves with what, frankly, is the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. So this is not a solution to a problem. This is really a political agenda against Californians. They're trying to make it harder. They have made it harder, and they're trying to price people out of gun ownership. And this isn't the only way. This is just the latest.
And on that note, I know you and other 2A advocates, they're not happy about this, not happy with the way Newsom is running California. Can you talk about other gun control laws that he has passed that are specific to California and could be a danger to the nation?
Sure. He's been behind and supported a lot of extreme gun regulation, including banning certain types of handguns, banning certain types of commonly owned long guns, semi-automatic long guns, trying to put a halt to people's ability to carry a concealed weapon for protection. Now, these are people that have gone through training, gone through an extensive background check, and he still tried to make it impossible for people to carry a firearm outside of their home for self-defense. He's absolutely an extremist when it comes to gun ownership. He has never supported gun owners. He has never supported the right to keep and bear arms, and works against it, and has worked against it even before he was governor. I believe he thinks that gun ownership is, or restricting gun ownership is a way to skyrocket himself into the White House one day. But I really don't think, I think that it goes, gun regulations go over with voters in California in certain groups, but nationwide it is very unpopular, very unpopular. So for him to think that he's going to take this California gun regulation, this California extremism, and spread it out over 49 other states, I think he's sadly mistaken.
I wanted to ask just on that topic, there's been talk, rumors of Gavin Newsom kind of being a surrogate to Biden, potentially replacing Biden as the Democratic candidate for president. So hypothetically, if this were to happen, how would this be dangerous for the entire nation when it comes to two-way rights?
Well, the mistakes he's made in California, I don't think it's a good idea to spread them to the rest of the country. And I certainly don't think it's a popular idea to restrict people's ability to defend themselves and restrict people's ability to own and carry firearms for protection or sport. I think he's going to have a very rude awakening if he starts talking to most other states about the types of restrictions that he is in favor of, and tries to export the types of mistakes he's made in California to the other 49 states in so many different ways. California has turned into the laughingstock of the nation. People are fleeing California and moving out for a variety of reasons, not just restrictive gun rights. So the idea that he should be rewarded for that by, being even entertaining the idea of going into higher office is ludicrous.
And even if people out there, they're not particularly into guns, the legislation just cracking down on our Second Amendment rights. Would you agree that this current administration can almost be seen as a direct threat to all of our constitutional rights?
Sure. Well, going back to this 11% tax, whether or not you are in favor of gun ownership, whether or not you're in favor of guns or are a gun owner, the idea of using a tax to limit someone's rights or limit someone's freedoms that are constitutionally protected, I think is offensive to everybody. So it doesn't really necessarily matter where you fall on the gun issue. You may not be in favor of gun ownership. It might not be right for you, but the idea of the government coming in and trying to tax you out of your ability to defend yourself, or try to tax you out of your ability to exercise a constitutionally protected right, I don't think anybody's in favor of that.
And whether you're a Republican or Democrat, these gun control laws, they apply to everyone. This is an issue that seems to kind of transcend all party lines, not partisan. Everyone in California is going to have to pay this 11% tax, no matter where they fall. And go into detail about just this kind of transcending all party lines.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. And of course, gun ownership isn't just for Republicans or just for Democrats or just for libertarians. There are all kinds of people in California who own firearms, and they own them for a variety of reasons, but especially self-defense. The ability to defend yourself against an attacker. If you're in a violent situation or you're about to be attacked violently, there's just no question that you want to be able to defend yourself in an effective way. So especially over the last few years, there have been a lot of different groups, women, minority, LGBT, who've realized that gun ownership is the only way to really defend yourself effectively when you're outside of the home. So that 11%, if they're trying to stop violent criminals, they're not charging violent criminals an 11% tax. They're charging sane, trained, law-abiding gun owners an 11% tax. So if you are somebody who've come to the conclusion that, hey, I want to be safe, I want to be able to defend myself against violence outside of the home, now you have to, pay an additional 11% on top of that to the state of California so that they can use that money to message against your ability to protect yourself outside of the home. It's the whole thing. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's an abuse of government. It's not the proper role of government. And there will be a lawsuit in the future very quickly, and I'm sure we're going to win in court.
And I was just going to ask us to kind of wrap everything up, as executive director of the San Diego Gun Owners Political Action Committee. Let's talk about what you guys are doing next, the next steps. You did mention a lawsuit. Exactly who is all joining in on that lawsuit? And it is against the state of California?
So it looks like there's an organization called Firearms Policy Coalition that is most likely going to file a lawsuit against the 11%, and we're very supportive of their efforts. I think that they've done a wonderful job in so many of their lawsuits. So it looks like Firearms Policy Coalition is going to file this lawsuit. We're going to concentrate on making sure that we get the right people elected. San Diego County gun owners, Orange County gun owners, Inland Empire gun owners, it's basically all of Southern California. We're going to make sure that we get the right people elected in November so that these horrible laws are prevented, because, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It's very, very difficult to raise the money and get into court and sue and then hope it goes the right way and hope you don't have to go all the way to the Supreme Court just to solve your problem. And we've had a number of really good Supreme Court decisions lately, but we want to make sure that we prevent this from happening so we don't have to react to it.
All right. Well, Michael Schwartz, we so appreciate you coming on the show, and we appreciate your time speaking with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, of course.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.